Chapter 11. Arthur Simonyan is for the return of the Nagorniy Karabakh to Azerbaijan. Anti-Armenian, pro-Islamic activity of the religious social coalition Word of Life, corrupt, anathemised, insidious, whose leaders are Ulf Ekman, Karl Gustav Severin, Sergey Ryahovskiy, Ola Ishoel, Leonid Malko, Rasim Khalilov, Arthur Simonyan, Bagrat Bekchyan, and others. Obvious pro-azeri tendency and anti-Armenian political activity of Ulf Ekman, Karl Gustav Severin, and Rasim Khalilov, together with Arthur Simonyan and Bagrat Bekchyan, is performed for the insidious purpose to compel, spiritually and physically, the entire Armenia, Armenian people, and the Nagorniy Karabakh to unwillingly give away Karabakh to Azerbaijan, being under the influence of the invisible spiritual violence committed by the entire coalition ROK S.ZH by means of constant, total occultism, sorcery, taboo, spells and curses, bewitching mantras pronounced numerous times in the so-called prayer towers in the house of prayer in Baku and in Sumgait. Currently, for the construction of this house of prayer, Ulf Ekman and Karl Gustav Severin provide Rasim Khalilov, the leader of the sect Word of Life in Baku, with large sums of money and spiritual support. Incontestable proof of all this is as follows. First, numerous articles published on the website of the sect Word of Life in Baku, which received the state registration on May 24, 2012. Second, numerous hours-long audio recordings of the teachings of Rasim Khalilov, leader of the sect Word of Life in Baku, during which he performs prayers and fasts, aggressive agitations, and call for the Azerbaijanis, the followers of the sect Word of Life, to stand in gaps, fast, and constantly pray until Armenia gives the Nagorno Karabakh Republic back to Azerbaijan. Third, numerous pictures confirming the visit of Karl Gustav Severin to Azerbaijan and cooperation of Karl Gustav and Rasim Khalilov with the political leaders of Azerbaijan in order to obtain state registration of the sect Word of Life in Baku and in Sumgait. Fourth, there is an article published on the website of the sect Word of Life in Baku which states that in 1994, Karl Gustav promised Heydar Aliyev, the president of Azerbaijan, to speak in many countries of the world about Azerbaijan and victims sacrificed for the independence and freedom of the republic. Fifth, in 1994, US national TV channel, with its president Lester Sumrall, who is the spiritual father of Ulf Ekman and Arthur Simonyan, provided the representative of Azerbaijan with airtime to spread false information about the aggression of Armenia against Azerbaijan. The 6th, from the 1st through the 5th of March 2012, Ulf Ekman and Karl Gustav Severin arranged First International Congress of the Coalition Word of Life in Turkey, Ephesus, modern Izmir, where Arthur Simonyan, Leonid Malko, Bagrat Bekchyan, and Rasim Khalilov also participated. The 7th, on June the 10th, 2012, Arthur Simonyan and Bagrat Bekchyan were in Istanbul, Turkey. The same day, on June the 10th, 2012, Rasim Khalilov called for the Azerbaijani, the followers of the sect Word of Life in Baku, to pray and fast for the Nagorno Karabakh to be returned to Azerbaijan. Let's analyze the above captioned facts in details. On May 29, 2012, there was an article published on the website of the sect Word of Life in Baku stating that on May 23, 2012, one of the leaders of the coalition ROK S.ZH, the first assistant to Ulf Ekman, Karl Gustav Severin, made a visit to Baku, Azerbaijan, for the purpose to meet with Hidayat Orujev, the chairman of the State Committee for Work with Religious Organizations in Baku, and Gündüz Ismailov, assistant to Hidayat Orujev, and with Rasim Khalilov, leader of the sect Word of Life in Baku. The purpose of this meeting was re-registration of the sect Word of Life in Baku, as well as the registration of the sect Word of Life in Sumgait. Right next day, on May 24, 2012, the sect Word of Life in Baku received state registration. Citation from the article published on the website of the sect Word of Life in Baku on May 29, 2012. Last week was marked by the visit of our dear and beloved guest Karl Gustav Severin to our republic. This visit can be considered historical. Besides meetings with the believers, on May 23, 2012, Karl Gustav had an important meeting with the chairman of the State Committee for Work with Religious Organizations, Hidayat Orujev. In addition to the above-mentioned persons, the meeting attended the senior pastor of the religious coalition Word of Life in Baku, Rasim Khalilov, assistant chairman of the State Committee for Work with Religious Organizations, Gündüz Ismailov, and others. In the beginning of the meeting, Karl Gustav pointed out that his first visit to our republic was back in 1994. During that period, our country was especially in need of friendly support. That is when Karl Gustav, with his team, provided humanitarian assistance in the refugee and forced immigrant camps. Hidayat Orujev, who held the position of the National Security Advisor to the President of Azerbaijan at that time, pointed that he remembered that the origins of our independent republic originate from the Caucasian Albania, where numerous Christian memorials and churches were built in the 1st century and have been saved till now. They form the inalienable heritage of our people, which is treated with honor and respect and guarded, as opposed to those who destroy or convert them into the Gregorian ones. What kind of conflicting illiterate statements are these, where the reality is insidiously distorted? It is amazing that Karl Gustav Severin, being a Christian, agrees to these illiterate false statements of anti-Armenian origin. It is known worldwide that the Gregorian faith is one of the main branches of Christianity. It is impossible to convert Christian churches into the Gregorian ones due to the fact that the Gregorian churches are the same Christian churches. How can the Christian memorials and churches be the heritage of a Muslim country? Just the presence of these memorials on the territory of Azerbaijan means that this territory was once Christian, but now is occupied by the Azerbaijanis. It is well known that Muslims were always the ones who defaced and destroyed Christian churches, converting them to mosques. As it is known that in the 1st century, the Armenian Tsar Abgar V accepted Christianity, and in 301, the Great Armenia, with Tsar Tartar III the Great, pronounced Christianity a state religion. Continuance of citation. Karl Gustav reminded that during his meeting with national leader Heydar Aliyev, he promised to speak in other countries about Azerbaijan, sufferings and patience of its people, about victims sacrificed for the independence and freedom of the republic, freedom of speech, thought, and religion. At the end of the meeting, the chairman of the State Committee for Work with Religious Organizations, Hidayat Orujev, raised not a rhetorical question regarding assistance that the committee could provide to demonstrate its relationship with the religious community Word of Life in Baku. Karl Gustav asked the chairman of the State Committee for Work with Religious Organizations to assist him in obtaining state re-registration for the community in Baku, as well as in registering the community in Sumgait. Hidayat Orujev welcomed the request for registration and promised to assist in obtaining one in the shortest time period. Both sides were under a good impression of their meeting. Today, on May 29, 2012, the Church Word of Life in Baku received state registration. The end of citation. As it is seen from the article, Karl Gustav promised the president of Azerbaijan, Heydar Aliyev, to speak about sufferings and victims of the Azerbaijani people, and he kept his promise. Sometime later, the US national TV channel provided the representative of Azerbaijan with airtime in order to spread false information about Armenia supposedly being aggressive against Azerbaijan and occupied about 20% of its territory. The president of the US national TV channel, so-called apostle and missioner Lester Sumrall, assisted in that at the request of his best friend Ulf Ekman. Ulf Ekman and Arthur Simonyan call Lester Sumrall their spiritual father. It is important to note that Hidayat Orujev held the position of the National Security Advisor to the President Heydar Aliyev, and nowadays, during Ilham Aliyev's presidency, he holds the position of the chairman of the State Committee for Work with the Religious Organizations. If Hidayat Orujev is concerned about the national security of Azerbaijan, then on what grounds does he allow the registration of the Christian sect in the Muslim country, despite the fact that Muslims always considered Christians as their enemies? What does the so-called Christian Karl Gustav Severin have in common with Muslims? For what purpose was the encounter of Karl Gustav with the president of Azerbaijan, Heydar Aliyev, in 1994? Is it possible for the so-called Christian organization to obtain state registration in a Muslim country in one day? It appears to be possible for Karl Gustav. As we already mentioned, on May 23, 2012, Karl Gustav Severin came to Baku and had a meeting with Hidayat Orujev the same day. At the end of their meeting, Karl Gustav addressed Hidayat Orujev with his request for assistance in obtaining state re-registration of the community in Baku, as well as the community in Sumgait. And the very next day, on May 24, 2012, the sect Word of Life in Baku received a certificate of state registration. However, the leaders of the coalition Word of Life impudently lie by saying that the registration was obtained on May 29, 2012. It means that even prior to his visit to Azerbaijan, Karl Gustav Severin and Ulf Ekman had already made secret arrangements with the politicians of Azerbaijan regarding the registration of the sect in Baku. And as soon as Karl Gustav came to Baku, this registration was obtained. Here comes the question. On what grounds did the president of Azerbaijan, Heydar Aliyev, allow the registration of the so-called Christian organization Word of Life in a Muslim country in 1996? And later, in 2012, Ilham Aliyev, the son of Heydar Aliyev, also allowed re-registration of the sect in one day. What do Islam and Christianity have in common? It is not a secret that Muslims hate Christians. How do the ardent followers of Islam allow the existence of the so-called Christian organization Word of Life in Baku? Is it even possible to preach Jesus in the streets of Baku? It appears that it's already possible, because the world-known so-called evangelists and theologians Rick Warren and Robert Schuller has joined the already existed new type of religion called pro-Islam. On June 26, 2011, many churches in 33 states of America accepted pro-Islam. Pro-Islam is a mixture of both Christianity and Islam. In these types of churches, the crosses are taken off and everything that insults Muslims. Quran is placed next to the Bible in order to conduct services together with Muslims. This is where the active participants of the movement for the unification of different religions lead. Ulf Ekman, Karl Gustav Severin, and the entire coalition Word of Life in Armenia, under the leadership of pseudo-Armenian, pseudo-Muslim Arthur Simonyan and his assistant Bagrat Bekchyan. We will discuss the above mentioned in details in Chapter 12.